There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonkō Table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonkō Table, the table that will make their dreams come true.
Yo, folks. Welcome to the latest and the greatest from the Yonkō Table. That is the voice of GrandMasterHoop, back on the backs of a dragon as we are flying right back into Westeros to talk about episode 2, The Rogue Prince, which is the episode 2 of the new hit HBO series, House of the Dragon. Yes, it is HBO's first spinoff of their other hit series, Game of Thrones. And goodness gracious, it seems the fire is lit and it is burning bright because we are treated with another episode that seems to get it right. It's got the Game of Thrones formula and it's building in a nice pace, and there's a lot to digest here. But goodness, I cannot digest this alone. With me, as always, is fellow Yonkō, DrJaceAttorney. DrJaceAttorney, does the fire burn bright in your stomach watching the House of the Dragon?
I think this week's episode burned much brighter than last week's. I am really sold on Game of Thrones again. I know we talked about it last week a little bit. If they left a good first impression for the premiere of the series, and it did leave a good impression, but I was kind of worried in the back of my mind. Like, I was thinking, oh man, maybe they just had a really good first episode and then the rest of the season just plummets and we're just left saying what could have been. But I am surprised this was a really strong second episode. I'm confident saying, Gabe, I feel like we're gonna see the rest of the season go out in this direction. I'm convinced Game of Thrones is back. I said it last week, but it really is back. This second episode, there's a lot to say about it. I feel like there's way more to say than compared to last week. So I'm ready for the deep dive.
I am ready as well. I think you're nailing it on the head. Game of Thrones is back, but it's like it's presented in a different way that makes it engaging. I feel the characters are reminiscent of, characters of old from the original series. However, it's intriguing to watch these characters play out their motives and whatnot in a different way, sort of say, versus the characters we, grew to love for like 10 plus years. So yes, we're ready to talk about it, but we are not alone. Of course, there are some supernovas joining us today. Let's hear who's joining us to talk House of the Dragon. Okay, goodness gracious, let's get into this. Now, of course, what is Game of Thrones without an opening? And we are treated here with the opening. Very interesting choice. I mean, in Game of Thrones fashion, it is the animated opening that details, typically in the original, it was the setting and where the prominent events of the series would take place. I'm a little confused about this one, but I do have like one little take about this one. But first of all, it's the original theme. It's the original score. Roman Dwali came out and he did, I believe it's called A Game of Thrones. That's the name of the title, I believe. Are we okay? Or did we want a switch up? Or, I think of shows like Better Call Saul. It does not use the Breaking Bad theme song. It has its own theme song. I'm indifferent. I'm like, I love Roman Dwali, and I know he can make a good theme. I think it's cool that it's here. I'm glad the visual's different. That's my little take right now. What did y'all think? I'm curious.
I feel kind of similarly that it's indifference. I think I like the familiarity, but I did notice some of the differences in terms of the animation. I imagine the blood was very much tied back to the Targaryens.
Yes.
The name of what's their I think the show, what it's based off of is the novella, or the smaller book or story, which is called Fire and Blood.
Fire and Blood, yeah.
Which is also the tagline of the Targaryens. So I did kind of peep that in terms of the blood going throughout. Was that the Red Keep or was that somewhere else?
That's where I'm lost. I was trying to look at it. Where is this? I had no idea what it was. I started to think maybe this is old Valyria.
That's what I thought because we saw the setup, the figurines.
Yes. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool. Maybe we'll eventually figure out what it is. Dr. Jace, did you have any thoughts on the opening?
I was okay with it. I think it would have been interesting if they went with like a different theme song, kind of like you said with what they did with Better Call Saul. But just hearing the old theme song again with at least a new visual, whatever it was, I liked it. I again, once it started playing, I was kind of like Leonardo DiCaprio in that scene from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Where they're doing it. Because I was like, oh yeah, they didn't do that last week. That's right, there was no intro. So it was nice. It was nice to hear it again. The visual, it was cool because again, that red liquid that was going around everywhere, I assumed it was blood, and it goes into the tagline of the Targaryens, Fire and Blood. I liked it. It was fine. It was it would have been interesting if they went with something else, but I think they wanted to play it safe. HBO. I think, after what happened with the last season of Game of Thrones, they kind of just want to, reassure folks that, we're coming back strong. This is Game of Thrones proper. It's a new characters, new setting somewhat. But don't be afraid. This is the Game of Thrones you all love. And so they went with the original theme song. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think that's both of y'all's very fair assumptions. It's like, hey, yeah, trust us. We got y'all. And for the most part, they are delivering so far. Again, we're 2 episodes in. I can't complain. I really can't. This episode, as you said, Dr. Jace, might be stronger. Dr. Reeka, are you in the team of consistency here?
Yeah, I thought this was great. I was very intrigued. I think in our little group chat last night, I said, the game is alive and well. As far as seeing all the different characters who were trying to get their game piece on the board and trying to make some maneuvers. I really enjoyed this episode. I imagine we'll start to get into all the parts that made it so juicy, as far as the political intrigue, the relationships, family dynamics, and then a little dragon action.
Ooh, dragon action again.
Action.
Well, they're teasing us. I'm telling you, this was first 2 episodes, a little bit of tease. It's coming. And they are really building it up. I like how they're building it up. But yes, let's get into this nitty gritty. Now, again, I think this episode, what it really comes down to is vying for the king's attention. I think that's what it really comes down to. I think you have multiple factions, multiple characters just trying to be in Viserys's ear. Now, I just want to kick this off. This quote was said later in the episode by Lord CORYLS Velaryon. However, I think it sets the tone and it sets the board for this episode. Viserys, he says, he's talking to CORYLS and he says, talking about his reign, and he says, what an aspirant portrait of my reign. And it's been 9-10 years that he's been king, and he basically paints the picture of what has happened since Emma's death. But also this just sets the stage for the rest of the episode. So he says, the eyes of the enemy are fixed on the Red Keep. We get that intro with the crab feeder over here eating up everybody. Oh gosh, I just lost my place. He says the queen has passed and it's not even been a year. So we're in a time jump. We are 6 months.
I wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't expecting that either.
It was because we knew they were going to time jump at some point, but like a significant ways, right?
Well, now it's just proven that we might get small time jumps.
Okay.
And then we'll get some larger time jumps. But, in Game of Thrones fashion, they do time jumps, but they don't necessarily kind of call it out. You just have to assume
Right.
that a good amount of time
Yeah,
has
you gotta
passed
figure it
between.
out.
Right. But this one, they just like, it's been 6 months, and very interesting, position how, where we leave Viserys, because it's been 6 months since his wife's passing. A girl has been named heir to the throne, first in history. So all eyes are watching, because patriarchy, we love the patriarchy. How dare he name a girl heir to the throne?
What caught me off guard was like, even though she was named heir to the throne, she was still serving their cups
Okay.
in the council. I was like, ooh, wait, this is gonna come back later. There's no way the heir to the throne is gonna be serving these men in this room. Why?
So no. It's save that thought real quick.
I'm
quick.
just saying, like,
No, because
in this scene, I was like, oh my god, no, this is coming back.
no. It's good. It's good. It's so good. His brother is over here, claims the ancestral seat at Dragonstone unchallenged. So
what happened? Because I'm just trying to grasp everything. So he was banished to Dragonstone, or he was exiled to Dragonstone?
He was sent to Runestone. He was supposed to go to Runestone,
but he did not.
No.
Okay.
He said, I'm going to Dragonstone, which is where the Targaryens first laid claim when they came to Westeros.
Okay.
Yes.
God.
And I guess at that point, it's you must be of high Targaryen caliber.
Well, they gave you some dialogue a little later. It's supposed to be Rhaenyra's.
It is supposed to be Rhaenyra's, correct?
Dragonstone is.
Dragonstone.
Yeah, so it's whoever the heir is, I imagine.
Got it. Okay, right. I do remember she did say that once, later in the episode when they meet.
Well, I guess that also means, that's where the heir awaits until they sit upon the Iron Throne. So.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
I think that's what it comes down to. But he did it, he took it, and he's unchallenged. Again, this dude, he's a wild card, but we'll come back to Daemon. And then lastly, of course, we talked about the Crab Feeder. The Crab Feeder established a colony. This is all under Viserys's reign. And then I want to start with this quote, because again, I think it sets the tone for the episode, despite it coming midway through the episode. CORYLS tells him, to elude a storm, you can either sail into it or around it, but you must never await its coming. And despite him saying that in the middle of the episode, I think it sets the tone and the theme for the entirety of this episode.
No, I agree. CORYLS has some questionable decisions that we'll get into. But like, I mean, it's weird because like I was kind of rooting for CORYLS in the very beginning when he didn't do anything questionable, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a good line, CORYLS. I really like that line. The whole thing about the storm, and then the episode goes on, CORYLS does something, and
it just gets worse and worse.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't root for anyone. And and maybe Viserys, he hasn't. No, Viserys made the choice last week.
He's pretty. I think the intent is that everyone is kind of in a gray area where
right.
For some folks, one episode, and then they do something where like maybe I'm not completely rooting for you.
Right.
And I think we certainly saw that this week.
I think that's the beauty of Game of Thrones. Like, you can find good things to root for and hope to see come to fruition, and then everybody just does something that's like high key questionable and makes you be like, you're a piece of shit. Like, that is the beauty of Game of Thrones. Now, it's like, obviously Rhaenyra is painted as, I would say, the protagonist for sure.
Right. Yeah.
I would hate for her to do something vaguely questionable.
I have a feeling, because
I feel like
George R. Martin said, that the intent is like everyone is pretty much gray at this point.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We just haven't seen all of that yet, because I'm sure we'll get to it, but I have some questions about Miss Allison.
Okay, listen, here we go. Now that we got the picture of what's going on in the kingdom for the 6 months, let's get into some characters. I think the best way to go about this episode is going by kind of characters at certain moments in the episode. Dr. Jace, you mentioned Rhaenyra. It's been 6 months. She's heir, and she's still the cup girl. That's some bullshit. That is some petty ass.
What are you doing?
That just told me all I needed to know about kind of making her the heir. It was, yes, Viserys has good intentions of making her heir, and I think that was the right decision, but nobody's acting on it because it's the patriarchy.
Right.
It was definitely just a gesture, and I think they said it in the series too. The intent was to spurn Daemon more so than to actually believe in her.
Yes.
I wrote down that quote. I wrote that.
But
She
great
said
to spur Daemon.
she said that to Allison in the Sept. It was to spurn Daemon. And I tell you, I learn new words from Game of Thrones every time I watch. I did not know the meaning of
now
spurn.
You're going to use that in your day-to-day vocabulary.
I have a ongoing notes of new words, and spurn made the list with a couple of other words from this episode.
And
So
I'm sure you can teach your students a little something new.
I sure am.
Do not tell them where you got it from.
I mean, I'll tell them. I'll just be like, don't watch it on your own. Ask your parents.
And what are they going to do?
Mr. Hooper said, let's
My
watch Game
teachers.
of Thrones. No,
That is very informative.
I'm gonna cover my tracks really well. At least I'm gonna try. But yeah, man, she wants to be seen as, like she is the heir. She should have a voice in the council meetings. She should be able to start, I guess, they should start grooming her as the heir. And she's just still the cup girl. So, they're talking about the Daemon situation a little bit. Or I think it was either the Daemon situation or it was the crab feeder.
It was the
And
crab
she's-
feeder.
The crab feeder, okay. And she suggests you have dragon riders, send them in, like let them light everybody up.
You would
And
think,
everyone-
right? They're dragons.
Correct. Now, I mean, it's the easiest way to, I think.
Right.
Like nobody can counter a dragon unless you have that one little,
Oh, that harpoon
ballistic
thing from the...
yeah.
Got it. Right.
Which we don't know if people have that, but either way, it's the smarter decision. It's less bloodshed on your part. It's a great move. I think she was very smart in saying that. And then everybody's just kind of,
Excuse me?
at least the princess has a plan.
Oh, no. No, who said that?
Who said that?
CORYLS.
CORYLS,
said
yes.
that. And it
Yes.
was in response because he was the one that was pushing for Viserys to
help. Yeah.
to help with the war effort, and Viserys is countering that by saying, no, a king should not be progressing war unless it's completely unavoidable. CORYLS getting pissed with that answer, and then in comes Rhaenyra with that suggestion about the dragons, and of course CORYLS is all for it because that helps his cause. He's like, oh well, the royal cupbearer has a point. And
Well, not only a point, he says has a plan. Viserys doesn't have a plan to
she
deal.
doesn't have anything. She's sending the
yeah.
dragons. Done. That's it.
No, I mean Viserys has no plan.
Oh, Viserys. Right.
Yes, Viserys is not addressing the issue. It's an issue. Like
Right.
you need those. I need those shipping lanes. Those shipping lanes cannot fall. And Viserys is like, you want me to incur war?
I suppose. So wait, like what exactly is happening with the crab feeder? Like, is there like an insurrection going on, or like
It's basically an insurrection. The crab feeders set up a colony
okay,
on one of their, I guess, on their lands that border the narrow sea.
okay,
Yeah,
And,
it's near. I was listening, to another podcast. 'cause I
It's
don't
okay.
the betrayal.
The betrayal. I believe it's somewhere near Dorne. Like there's something that could disrupt the pathway to Dorne, and so it's a number of pirates led by the crab feeder who is potentially going to be blocking this
Okay.
access.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. And then I'm guessing they call him the crab feeder because he literally feeds. the
He's
people
literally
to
tying
the
them
crab.
to stakes and lets the crabs have at it, which I don't know where he gets all those crabs, but it's a plethora
I
of
think it's
crabs out there.
natural, right? Like, isn't he just isn't he just like fighting them on the battlefield of where he's stationed at? And
They said
there's
that's his
crabs there.
method, though, to leave them to the crabs. It sounds like he's got a way to attract the crabs, or maybe he just, I don't know.
And what I will say is, I think the interesting part, which is why CORYLS is so against this, is because historically, he did something relatively similar to build up his wealth. Like, because what's his family's?
Valarian.
Well, his family they weren't dragon riders, which they mentioned, whether it was last episode or this episode.
They mentioned
he
a
had to
couple
build
times
up
here.
His wealth via the sea, doing very relatively similar pirating, seafaring. So the idea of someone disrupting really his main source of power and wealth, because right now he's the most wealthy. It's not
He's the wealthiest, correct?
Yeah, it's not the Lannisters
okay.
right now. So if someone's going to be disrupting his only source of power right now, because his wife is not queen, now, which we'll get to, there's no way of marrying into the family due to the decision made at the end of the episode. So if my only way of continuing to maintain power is by having these shipping lanes, and someone is disrupting that, I'm not happy about that.
Right. No, he has every reason to be upset about it, especially with Viserys. Like we said, he's not acting on it. He's not making these.
A lack of action.
A lack of action. And yeah, he doesn't really even. I mean, he really is not that good of a king when you think about it. Because like, I get it wanting to avoid war, but like he's not proposing any alternative outside of just, well, I'm not gonna go to war. And that's it. He just leaves it at that. I'm like, no, that's not. You don't have to go to war, but address the problem. And again, it goes to what CORYLS was saying before. Don't wait for the storm to come to you.
Correct.
I don't know. There was a lot going on here.
Well, with that storm quote again, that's one storm. However, if you don't address it, that storm's going to get worse, but you're also going to invite another storm. It's like hurricane season, one after the other.
Right.
If you don't prep now, another one might follow in its place. But this is, again, it's going to build up this crab feeder. Again, sending the Dragon Riders was a good call by Rhaenyra, but I think Otto Hightower said, there's better use for you, princess, and shrugs her off to leave the council meeting.
I think I saw a meme somewhere where like Otto Hightower is considered the most hated man in 2022 for I guess just television in general.
So far, and
so far,
more on Hightower later for again.
Oh, moron! You called him moron, Hightower?
No, there's more on him that we'll discuss as we go on, but he's problematic, no doubt. So far, I think he's worse than Daemon, probably.
I think he's worse than Daemon. Daemon has qualities where, regardless of what he does, and he does a lot, there is some love for his family that you can see. It's rigid, but it's there. We've seen it. We saw in episode 1, and we definitely saw in episode 2, which we'll get into some of the conversations that Daemon has later. But Otto Hightower, I have yet to see something that
redeemable.
Is I guess he does one thing, not necessarily. I mean, I don't know. It's the scene where he kind of stops Viserys from leaving, right? But I guess there was a strategy in that to go see Daemon. Yeah,
that was intentional.
That was not out of the kindness of his heart. That was actually, I take that back. I know why he did that. I take it back. I know why he did that. So no, he hasn't done anything good.
There is reason to almost everything anybody does. It may look just, but it's not that just.
It's not right.
But sticking to Rhaenyra, she's now has to go pick the King's Guard, and that's a simple thing she can do. She just picks a knight. No, she comes in And she says, I want someone with actual battle experience, not a tournament experience.
That seems like a very reasonable criteria. You know,
She's thinking. She's smart. She's like not stupid. And that's what they all think of her. Like,
well, and I mean, some of them, again, it goes back to what Hightower even says in that scene. They're not even thinking about like, oh, well, technically, who would be the most qualified to protect the king? It's building relationships, and that's what Hightower wanted from that. Because he even told her, he's like, you know, my princess, I don't think you should choose that guy. He's from what house was he from?
That was Kristen Cole.
Yeah, he's the son of a steward of like a higher house.
I think his house is from Dorne, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I think that's what they said.
He's Dornish, yeah.
Yeah, he's Dornish. So he said he fought as a foot soldier for a couple of years, and he knocked Daemon off his horse. He sounds like a good choice to me.
Oh no, I thought he was perfect. And that gets brought up again later.
Yes.
You remember the guy that knocked you off your horse?
Yes. Oh, good. Yeah, clap back, Christian
back.
Cole.
It
Right
was there. I like that.
But this whole time, you know, they might write her off, the High Council, but she is showing she is highly capable to do this job. And, you know, despite maybe not having wanted this job to begin with, she's now starting to lean into the role. And she's still going to make her, you know, she's going to make her moves and be smart when she can. If it is, you know, if the opportunity presents itself.
Right.
But I think what's most important here is how, like you said, how Hightower suggested one thing as far as, you know, making, you know, relationships with other houses. She totally rejects his consultation.
Yeah.
Something Viserys leans into. He goes to Otto Hightower a couple of times, and a pivotal time in this episode. And, you know, on the other side, you have Rhaenyra, who's just like, relax, Otto Hightower. I got this. I just find it interesting, you know, because he's got his own schemes, and maybe she sees right through it a little bit, you know, kind of the intuition. And just as a cup bearer, you do see a lot and hear a lot in that council without having to speak up. And now she has a moment to speak up, and now she can start slowly making changes as she goes through. Granted, that might be upsetted later on in the series, but we see her progressing. I like that she's trying to step up to the plate, despite how many people are going to push her back down.
No, I agree.
Speaking of pushing back.
Go ahead.
Yes.
No, I was going to say, speaking of pushing back, and you were mentioning the patriarchy.
Yes.
I really appreciated the scene between Rhaenys and Rhaenyra.
Okay. And see, we could talk about that, because again, we're just on, you know,
Rhaenyra.
We're on Rhaenyra.
Rhaenys is the queen that never was.
The queen that never was.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
What I found so intriguing, and certainly being kind of on the end of this type of conversation, is there is this tendency for some women, even if they have either access to power or are in positions of power, to give this message to other women who are trying to kind of go up the ladder, that there is a ceiling. And I think that's the type of conversation we saw, is like Rhaenys trying to uphold the system of like, this is how it's always been. And I think there's an element of truth to that. Like, sure, I mean, us as viewers know that ultimately there never is a queen that sits on the Iron Throne. Successfully, I should say.
Not a true queen.
Yeah, not a true queen in the way that
wow.
at least one of the Targaryens, I should say.
Okay.
So we're aware of this, that this never happens, and this, you know, this piece of dialogue from Rhaenyra of like, well, I'll change that. That's not what she said, but you know, there is this ambition, and I think this desire now that she does have this position to change things. And Rhaenys was very much like, well, they'd sooner burn the kingdom down than actually
I
let you
love
ascend.
that.
Another beautiful quote. Just to quote it, men would sooner put the realm to the torch than see a woman ascend the Iron Throne.
And so it's just interesting because I imagine she'll continue to get this messaging from like men, but that it happens amongst relationships with women as well. Of like, yeah, no, this is just how it is. It is what it is. Like, there's no hope of changing that. Like, you could think that, but I've tried. And what I really appreciate is this idea of like, well, I'm not you. Like, you could have tried, and it stinks that you didn't succeed, but it doesn't mean just because you didn't succeed that I won't. And for the betterment of all of us, the hope is that I do. So I did think that piece of, and I know they mentioned it in like the after show kind of behind the scenes thing, that they really wanted to get those two characters together because of that dynamic of someone really trying to uphold, like, because she's been socialized Rhaenys and because of her loss, what was 10, 14 years ago, however long it was, the High Council had occurred, of like, no, I didn't succeed, so you won't either. Rather than actually trying to uplift her and say, okay, here's how we can maybe work together and collaborate, which is what I've always found so interesting, especially in being in positions in which I am with women who have access to some type of power, that they don't always extend a hand. And I think that's a really great representation of that.
Oh, no, for sure.
You don't need men to uphold the patriarchy because it'll just do it itself.
Rhaenys is scorned, and she is trying to soften the blow for Rhaenyra, and it's I get where she's coming from because she's the queen that never was, but it's like as you were saying, she's uplifting the patriarchy versus combating it like Rhaenyra is trying to do. But thankfully Rhaenyra, I think she recognizes that Rhaenys is scorned and understands that she does give advice and it is credible. She's been in the game for a while. She's seen more than Rhaenyra, but that is the kind of mindset that is not gonna evoke change. And so she has to, it sucks, but now she has to, combat folks like Rhaenys, who easily could, be on her side and uplift and, like you said, and promote more change.
This is
Which
where
is why it's so good.
She drops that line because Rhaenyra is basically saying, I'm not you, right? Because I'm not you. They're not gonna do the same thing to me. I'm gonna change, the kingdom, the Iron Throne, all that. And her name's Rhaenys, right? Rhaenys,
yeah.
Rhaenys says, will you do that as you continue to pour their cups? Oh God.
She's not wrong. She's
not wrong. And it's like, she is scorned. She was the most qualified person to ascend to the Iron Throne, but because of the patriarchy, they said no, we're passing it on to Viserys. And it's funny because like there are, I think it happened in this episode, but I remember it more in last week's episode. That title is not a title to be proud of, the queen that never was, and people casually throw it at her like it's just normal conversation. It's never like this egregious insult and then she's like, how dare you? Like, there are just normal people having normal conversations with her. They drop that title like, oh look, Rhaenys, the queen that never was, and she just kind of like smirks and just like leaves it alone. They
gave it to her kind of, hey, you came, it's a close second, which it wasn't, but it is more of an insult than it is an actual title of value.
It feels like in Game of Thrones what they call Jaime, so the Kingslayer.
Yes.
It feels like that, where we're insulting you and also kind of acknowledging something that you did or almost did in her case. Right.
It's like the common folk will praise you for such a title. Us on the High Council, we're having a laugh. He's a Kingslayer. I don't want him to be my Kingsguard, Right. But interestingly enough, Rhaenyra has a conversation with Rhaenys, but she also has a conversation with Alicent our other
Mhm.
prominent female figure of the show. And
Mhm.
this is when they're in the sept. And, you know, it's interesting because they're very similar. Both of them have fathers in high positions, you know, the king and the hand. They both lost their mothers at an early age. I believe they're both 15, if I'm
I
not
think
mistaken.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're same age.
Right. And then they're both kind of, you know, thrown into a position where they're supposed to do, you know, their father's willing. For example, Rhaenyra being named the heir, and Alicent, you know, having to do whatever her father asks of her.
Oh,
And
yes.
I really like this scene because what we get is their conversation about, you know, being close to their mothers in the sept. But then Alicent also gives her a really good piece of advice as far as, you know, because Rhaenyra and Viserys haven't talked in a very long time since Emma's death. And Alicent says, you know, if you wish to talk with him, well, when I wish to talk to my father, I'm the one who has to make the effort. So when hearing that, it's like, you know, Rhaenyra is in this position. She has, you know, she's trying to step up to the plate, but her, you know, it's being unrecognized by Viserys.
Right.
And she's going to have to talk to him. But it's interestingly enough because you have a character like Alicent who understands what she has to do if she wants to talk to her father, but then literally chooses not to talk to her father because he's an asshole. And it's a nice parallel, you know.
Right. Two sides of the same coin. They're both kind of going through these dilemmas with their fathers, but they're both different in completely different scenarios. God, man, just the more I think about Hightower, it's just so aggravating.
It is right, because, you know, I mean, it might be too early to say. I don't think Viserys is a bad man. He's maybe a bad king,
Right.
but he's not necessarily a bad man, and he's not necessarily a bad father. You know,
Right.
He does care for Rhaenyra. He just doesn't necessarily know how to go about it.
Right.
You know?
I feel like part of him does respect his daughter to some degree to be his legitimate heir to the throne, but he just doesn't know how to go about making that happen. Because you have all these other people in his ear, like just constantly telling him, no, no, she is not. And eventually, I mean, I feel like without even admitting it, I think he's starting to believe that to some degree. And then when you speak on the sneak peek of next week's episode, well, I won't. It's like, I mean, I don't know. I question Viserys a little bit.
It is simply the High Council is really loud.
Right. And I was going to say too, I think there's such a, and we've seen it in the last two episodes, he not obsessed, but there's such a focus on keeping things as they are. Because I believe the king that was right before him was a peacetime king. And so how can I just maintain that? And whatever happens in the future happens in the future. It's not my business. That's why I'm trying to, you know, that conversation we had with Rhaenyra of like, yes, you're my heir. I do have to do my duty and marry somebody so that there's like, I'm fortifying the line. We're ensuring that we can continue to be successful. So I think there's such a hyper focus on ensuring that there is no conflict, that he kind of becomes kind of a yes man or someone who's not as ambitious as I would say some of the other characters are, especially on the High Council.
Oh, he's definitely not ambitious, which is understandable. He's the highest you can go. So,
and he's on a timer too.
As far, he's dying. I guess he's dying.
We have no idea what's happening with him.
Right. I don't think maggots is the answer though.
What did he say? I think the maggots will save your digit or something. Is that?
Yes.
Like, was he gonna lose his finger from?
It sounded like he was gonna lose his finger for sure.
Goodness. And
but
then, oh god.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No. I was gonna say, and then we have another time jump, and it's like, how far is this thing progressing? Because I think
it was on his back first.
It was on his back, Right. And I just want to know, like, does it just appear randomly on different parts of your body, whatever it is?
It sounds like it does appear randomly because now it's on his hand. So yeah, I guess his time is ticking. But they're vulnerable.
Yes.
And I do like, you know, they have one conversation, Rhaenyra and Viserys, towards the beginning of the episode, and in that conversation, you know, Rhaenyra apologizes for her outburst in the High Council, and I feel his response kind of says it all, to where you know, we're talking about the High Council, you know, being so louder than Rhaenyra. He says, you know, you're young, you'll learn, versus kind of reassuring that she was right in what she was suggesting.
The way he said it, goodness.
Yeah, he took it as, oh, you made a mistake, but you actually know your place. You know you're not supposed to be doing that. Versus acknowledging that she should have a seat at the table and should be able to speak or not.
I'm just saying.
Right. And then by the end of the episode, and of course we're jumping, that's okay. But by the end of the episode, they have another conversation. It's finally they grieve together over the mother. And, you know, now they're open and honest about being vulnerable, why he has to remarry, and just, you are my heir. But if somebody tries to kill you, they're trying to end us. You know, right. We are not as protected, which makes me think Viserys is he's not all that not here. You know, he understands that people are pulling at him.
Certain priorities that don't always align with the other characters' priorities.
Right. And then if they don't align, they will try to take advantage. He's not too dumb. He's dumb in action, but he's not dumb in like taking it all in and reflecting.
Right.
But here, let's talk about Viserys, okay? When we first see him in this episode, he's still grieving. It's only been 6 months. And the big talk is, you gotta remarry, dude. You gotta remarry.
You gotta remarry, my lord. My grace, your grace.
The people expect you to remarry, my grace. And he's one part, obviously he's in grief. He's grieving. 2 parts, he is thinking about Rhaenyra too. He's like, you know, it's been only 6 months and you want me to remarry. He doesn't know how Rhaenyra will take it. And he's talking to Alicent about this. And I like what he says. He says he'd rather face the Black Dread, which is I think Valyria, the big black dragon.
His former dragon, yeah.
His former dragon.
Was that the one with the head in the crypt,
yes,
the skull?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
He said he'd rather face the Black Dread himself before his daughter at the age of 15.
7 hells.
So with that said, that makes me think he does recognize that Rhaenyra is strong-willed. He compares her to the Emma Plenty, who he oftentimes listened to and whatnot. But yeah, he's just kind of a punk sometimes. Go talk to your daughter, dude. Like,
it's too spooky. I'd rather talk to Otto Hightower, who comforts me in my what is it? These
dragon figurines,
the miniatures, the sculpting. Yes. It's very in depth. Did someone say last week that he's probably building the intro for Game of Thrones?
Yes, someone said that. That's what it looks like. Now, okay,
yeah,
he's got to remarry. Yes, Otto Hightower basically offers up Alicent. Do you buy Alicent and Viserys as far as, do you think Alicent is genuine in her conversations?
Like,
because I guess she could throw herself at him entirely.
I think my understanding of her, I think it is genuine. I think she's also doing it because that is how you play the game. This is what my duty is. This is what I do. So I think it is. I think the conversation she had in the crypt with Rhaenyra felt very genuine. I think the advice that was provided, same in her interactions. But I also think she there's not like a conniving energy to it. Like it's not a Cersei thing that's happening. At least my perspective of what she's engaging in. But I think she knows these are the things I need to do to maintain to survive in this kind of structure.
Right.
Because I'm not like Rhaenyra where I want to fight. There aren't a lot of options here for women, so my best option is to go along with what I've already been socialized to do via the father from the interactions we've seen there. I think she's genuine, but there's something, it's not clear cut, at least in my perspective.
Right. No, I kind of see it that way too. Like I think her interactions with Rhaenyra are genuine. I think, she does view her as her friend. Had her father not come up to Alicent, her father as in Hightower, if Otto Hightower did not go up to Alicent and basically, present her what her duties are to the Hightower name and to, bear an heir for the next Iron Throne, I feel like she wouldn't care. You take out Otto Hightower from this scenario, I feel like Alicent would not be playing this game. But because that's presented to her by her father, I feel like she's trying to balance the genuine friendship that she has with Rhaenyra and also the duty that she feels that she owes her family, specifically her father, in doing what she has to do with Viserys. It's terrible because I don't think, again, kind of like what DrJaceAttorney was saying, I don't think Alicent's a bad person. Like she's not doing this in like a Cersei way where she's intentionally screwing over people and just using them as pawns to ascend to the throne. I just think Alicent just got a very crappy end of the stick in this scenario, and
she dealt a shit hand.
Right.
And I think Cersei, I mean, probably you could throw like Marjorie into the mix too. I think those are good. I think those are good comparisons. Cersei's kind of, well, I got screwed over, so I'm going to screw everybody else over as much as I can.
Yes.
Marjorie just wanted to actually be the queen of everything. Oh, I mean, also Cersei just wanted respect as well, from men who did not give it to her. Right. Alicent, I do believe she's genuine as well. I do believe she understands her role that her father's making her play. I do think she's like, well, if I have to play this role, I'm going to play it my way. The Otto Hightower's like, make sure you're wearing your mother's dress. Yeah, she wore the mother's dress, but she just had a conversation with him.
Right. She's not like throwing herself at Viserys and hoping that, he catches the bait.
Right. I think there's like, when she gives him the dragon statue.
I felt like that was real.
That was real. Yeah, I believe that's real. And it's again, she's playing it right because this is an emotional dude, and she really is just hitting everything right. But it's interestingly enough because it's Otto Hightower is not, I don't think he's having her report back saying how'd it go, what happened. I think he would be upset if she came back. She said, we just talked, So
what do you think she's telling him whenever he comes back?
Well, I fucked him good, daddy.
There's no way.
I made the king squeal, dad, like a boar.
Why?
I made him call me the mother of dragons.
Goodness.
Very good, my daughter.
Is that what he does? He does the golf clap?
Or I don't know, just good, excellent.
Good.
Go get changed. Go do it again. As bad as it sounds, but yes,
it's something he would do. But
again, you see, Alicent. Yeah, I guess we're on Alicent too. Well, we'll go back to Viserys in a second. Alicent, she definitely, she low-key throws some shade, or she recognizes she's not in agreement with how Otto wants things to be done. It's in that scene right before he goes off to Dragonstone before he leaves, he's like, "You will be with the king tonight, right?"
Right.
And she's like, "Oh God, like that's not what I want to hear right now. You're about to potentially go
Jeez,
die.
Dad.
Why don't you tell me you love me?"
I mean, he
you know,
even points out the she has this habit of like picking her fingernails, and he doesn't even, like what you just said, he doesn't even acknowledge that he could potentially be going to his death. He just sees the game that's being played, and what does he say? He says like, "Why do you destroy yourself like this?" And it's not even out of concern for her health. It's like,
right,
that you're not making yourself presentable to the guy you're trying to bed with. And I'm like, oh God.
For a split second, she's like, "Oh my God, he notices I do this. He notices my little quirks." No, it's like, stop doing that. You don't look pretty. You need pretty nails.
God,
asshole.
Man.
And then Sir Christian comes by and says, "I got 20 of your best men." And she says, "Oh gosh darn it, did I write it down? I'm pretty sure I wrote it down."
You have to get every quote.
I know, I thought I wrote it.
Wait,
down.
which are you talking about?
Please look after the hand, Sir Kristen. She basically, in saying that, she's like, "Father, I just want you to love me. I love you. I'm telling this dude to look after you, and all you care about is whether I bed the king."
Okay.
It's a cry for love. She's like, "Just love me as your daughter versus a tool of your mechanisms and your, connivery," if that's a word. I don't think that's a word.
We'll make it up as we go.
Sure. But yeah, it's just, she's in a terrible position. It just really sucks for Alicent. But that's option 1 for Viserys. Option 2, presented by Lord CORYLS.
No! No!
Now, okay, hear me out though. CORYLS makes a really good art.
What?
Wait.
What?
Wait.
Oh,
Wait.
nope.
Wait.
Banished.
Wait. No. Wait. The idea of the two surviving.
Let me explain this, okay?
You seen that TikTok? He's like, wait. He's like, let me tell you something. So wait.
Go ahead. Explain and rationalize why
No.
option 2.
No. I'm not saying option 2 is the better option. If it weren't a 14-year-old girl, it would be a great option. I'm sorry, she's not even 14. Sorry.
It's worse.
Listen.
Go ahead.
2 surviving Valyrian houses from old Valyria, right? They all came over from Essos, from Valyria, and took over Westeros, right?
Which are the 2 houses from old Valyria?
So the only 2 surviving houses is Targaryen and Velaryon. And
got it.
Corlys's house.
Yes.
They're the only 2 surviving. He commands the ships. They command the dragons. Let's unite these 2 houses and no one will fuck with us ever.
Powerful relationship.
And
I mean,
again,
it makes
they're
sense.
the
It makes
2
sense.
oldest. It
Right.
makes perfect sense. He makes a good argument. But see, you didn't let me say but before.
Go ahead.
Well, she's like freaking 8 years old.
You know what's funny? When I saw the scene, they showed Viserys walking in, like, I guess the garden or something, and you see a white-haired figure walking next to him, but the camera's very far away, so you don't see the face. I thought that was Rhaenyra walking with her. I mean, walking with Viserys. And I thought, they're probably talking about, because it came directly after a scene. I think it was after CORYLS actually.
It's when he's getting his hands done by the maggots, and the council is telling him.
Is it after that scene? I thought it was.
No, it's right after. Actually, okay. Ooh,
no. Okay, it's after. It's when he's outside with goodness, these names: the Queen That Never Was, and CORYLS. Just them 3.
Oh no. Let me paint you how it goes. It goes that scene where they're presenting it. And then it
just them 3, right?
Yeah, just them 3. It doesn't go directly to the daughter. Then it goes a couple of scenes pass by. Okay. He first I guess entertains the idea when he's getting the maggots, because Hightower is there.
Oh, right, because that's when he
The-
presents it to Hightower, and Hightower's like, "What?
Okay.
No.
Actually, okay, this is all interesting. Okay, because when he does say it to Hightower, okay, right, Hightower, good acting. Riz
It was
Ifans,
fantastic. Oh my god.
you see him cringe, like
He
cringe.
cringed. He's like, what?
I'm about to lose. I'm about to fucking lose. Because the Maester also pretty much agrees.
Oh, he wanted to kill him. He wanted to kill him.
Hands down.
He wanted to kill that mace, the GrandMaster.
Yes, the GrandMaester. And okay, what's so good about this scene right here is that pretty much everybody's like, yo, go do it with CORYLS' daughter. Like, that's the smart thing to do. And Hightower knows he lost, but then Hightower recognizes that the king is not, he's more emotional than he is strategic as far as, in terms of power. He doesn't necessarily care about power.
Right.
That's why he's not a good king.
Right.
And Hightower hits him right where he needs to. Hightower says, first he's like, yo, she's young, and whatnot. And then he says, he hits her word hard. He says, compelled to replace Emma for duty's sake, I do not envy you.
Ooh, I loved it.
And he won right there.
He left him on that. He walked out of the room with anime explosions after that.
And that's such a great point in terms of Otto knowing kind of what buttons to push. That if, okay, he's very emotional, let me talk about my wife, whether that share out was true or not, we really don't know. But tapping into, I also lost my wife, I also loved her dearly, I don't, but it's not a duty that I have to continue and find somebody else. That's not my role. So I really, that scene, as far as you pointing out, how can I tap into the emotion of this man to try to get things back in my direction, was really, really insightful.
It was so clever. And I watched the episode twice, and when I rewatched that scene, I was like, damn, that's where he got him. Because now you have the scene with CORYLS' daughter, and it's just the most cringe-worthy, awkward scene I think I've ever seen in Game of Thrones. Just entertaining the idea is disgusting.
Right. Because she's like 10, 12?
She's younger than that. She's got to be like 9 or 10. Yeah,
they said
9.
She was 12 in the show.
12.
Okay.
There we go.
Look
at that.
But regardless.
Did we lose her?
DrJaceAttorney?
There you are. Yep.
Okay, you're
I was
back.
saying that they said she was 12, but the first thing she asked about are dragons. She says that piece that
Small
her father, her father made her say, and you could just, all of it's terrible.
Oh, when she said the line. When she said the line.
She basically lays it out, right?
It would be an honor or something.
Basically. And he's like, your father told you to say that, right? And she's like, yeah. And it's interesting here. I don't know if you picked this up, because he asked, what did your mother say? And he's like, in his head, I believe he was thinking, Rhaenys, my favorite cousin, she probably doesn't want her daughter to be married to me. This is weird. She's young. And then she responds with the worst possible response. Her mother told her that I wouldn't have to bed you until I was 14. I was like, God!
Insane.
And as DoctahReeka said, that is her recognizing the ceiling and not trying to break it. That is her literally trying to tell her daughter, you got to do what you got to do. Like, these men are in power. You got to play the game.
I mean, she tried cushioning it with you don't have to, do the deed until you're 14. But still, it's like she's recognizing the ceiling and not doing anything about it. She's pretty much agreeing with her husband that their daughter needs to be used as a pawn in this game. and it's, I mean, Viserys doesn't want to do this. He's like, why am I entertaining this? Why am I here in the garden?
Yo, I think Viserys hates being king. He's like,
I feel bad for him. He did not want to be king. He did not want to. I know we crap on him a lot about being a terrible king. Guess what? He didn't want to be king. He could not say no. Actually, can you say no to the throne, or can you pass it down?
He could have, I guess. He had every right. It just would have gone to the next.
Okay.
Well, technically, I guess it could have gone to Rhaenys, but I'm sure they would have.
Well, no. I think it.
Well, they would have put Daemon
first. It was first, but it skipped. That's why it was like, well, I mean, that kind of sucks because she should be the rightful heir, but because she's a woman, she cannot sit on the Iron Throne. Isn't that what it was?
Well, they put it to a vote. She lost.
Oh, okay, got it.
But they try to make
that's right.
Well, they try to make the vote seem as if they were trying to be fair. They weren't ever going to vote Rhaenys.
Right.
So if
she only got one vote.
Correct. She only got one vote. And it was probably from CORYLS because that's his wife. If Viserys had turned it down, I'm sure they would have found a convoluted way either to give it to Daemon despite his, whatever's going on, yeah. Or they would have tried to find another male heir to give it to. Because again, uphold the patriarchy no matter what.
Ooh.
But goodness, this was just it was bad.
That was weird. I just could not believe it. Like, I think the most, this is probably going to be one of those scenes that people cringe the most at in Game of Thrones. Well, specifically House of Dragons, I would say, because the only scene that I can say ever came close to this, and I could be wrong. There's probably a scene from the original Game of Thrones that I'm missing, but the only thing that I can think of is I forget the guy's name, but he was a knight, and it was a scene where it was during Arya's storyline where I think he was in a brothel or something, and he was asking for younger I guess prostitutes.
Oh.
And whenever they would bring someone out, he would say younger, and then they would bring out someone else and he would say younger, and it's like, oh my god, this guy is one of those guys. But they never took it to the point where it's like you have a 10-year-old right now in House of the Dragons, and she's having a conversation with Viserys, entertaining the thought. Like, it's
just, that scene that you speak of, I do remember. I don't even remember who that knight was, but I do remember that.
I remember he died. I remember he died like within that same like episode,
right? I mean, the only other worst one from the original is, as far as it goes, is like kind of Craster's keep is really bad to old man Craster, who lived on the other side of the wall, who all his wives were his daughters.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
And I would like to point out too that Alicent, which I will get to the decision that Viserys makes, is only 3 years older. She's still 15.
True.
Yeah. It's
true.
Still bad. Yeah, you're right.
Still bad.
It's bad no matter what.
I guess that's the disbelief you have to suspend, because she's like, I believe she's only 23 in real life, and she looks it. But yeah, her and Rhaenyra are young. They're minors. They're minors. So
right.
Minors at the what is it? The Wilm? What's the word? At the whatever. They're just being tossed up by these men like salad.
Right.
So that's what's happening over here amongst the council and friends. But we get some bad news. Or again, like I said earlier, this is a lot of people trying to vie for the king's attention. Now we have Daemon's play at getting his brother's attention. And he announces, well, again, he's already at Dragonstone, already problematic. He announces he's taking on a second wife in the traditions of old Valyria, and she is with child. And most importantly, he's stolen a dragon egg because he wants his child to sleep with the dragon egg. Thus, the child becomes bonded with the dragon. And this is all a big no-no. But this is also just Daemon trying to, hey, I'm over here.
Notice
Look at
me,
me.
big brother.
Look, help me, big brother.
Ew.
And he's just a thorn in everybody's side.
I feel like he's just trolling.
He is trolling.
Like-
This is what that literally, because he wasn't actually getting married. She's not actually pregnant. He's just trying to stir up trouble at this point.
Did you notice that his wife understood when they were speaking the language?
Yeah, I think a lot of, because I imagine she's from Essos. Well, she said she's from a country that she doesn't remember anymore. I think a lot of them speak Old Valyrian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
I've
usually
only seen it with the Targaryen so far, but I'm guessing CORYLS could speak it too.
he probably does speak it too.
Okay.
If you think back to original Game of Thrones, like I don't think Daenerys learned it until she really met Missandei. She learned Dothraki from the her Dothraki handmaidens. They might have taught her some Old Valyrian, but I think it was really Missandei that taught her it.
Okay.
So yeah, I would imagine, lack of a better word, whores know the language from whores from Essos. I don't think they're that. It's terrible. I'm part of the problem.
You're just like Otto Hightower.
Yeah, they were like, they were literally about to question which house is she from, and Otto Hightower just, Daemon's whore.
Honestly, some of the dialogue Otto had. I mean, are we talking about that scene?
Yeah, we're here. Yeah.
Okay. I felt like some of the best lines from Otto were in this scene. I don't know, like just the sheer anger he delivered some of these lines in, and how quick they were. They were quick-witted insults.
He's trying to hurt Daemon. He's trying to hurt him.
He's trying to hurt Daemon. I don't know. I might go back and rewatch that scene. Like, I hate Otto Hightower, but I'm not gonna lie. I like this scene where he's just bad-mouthing, trying to get under this guy's skin as much as possible, because we all know what Daemon was doing to him back when he was sitting on the council. He would be making fun of his wife, or his wife that passed.
Which,
so,
we did say maybe Otto didn't actually really care for his wife, but the way he responded to Daemon's insults would make you think he did care for her to a degree.
yes. So I don't know. I really liked Otto's scene, despite me hating him. I did like his scene. And
well, it's a really good scene. One, we haven't seen Dragonstone in forever, which you can visit Dragonstone. I think you can walk that little bridge.
Oh, it's an actual island, like a.
Yeah. I think it's in Portugal or Spain.
Wow.
Yeah, you can go there. It's a beautifully shot scene. Like, the fog was in, and they're on separate sides. And again, you're not rooting for Otto Hightower, but the words were hitting. But Daemon too. He's just over here, kind of just this smug son of a bitch.
Just holding the egg. You want it? It's like that scene from Bug's Life. You want it? Go ahead. Take it.
Well, I mean, he was ready. They were ready.
He was ready.
I do want to go back and actually watch Otto and what he says.
It's spot on. His quotes were spot on. Did they explain how Daemon even stole the egg? Because I know when they brought it up to Viserys, they were basically saying, he somehow got past like 50
of the Dragon Keepers,
right? And he just left with it. But did they ever did he just storm it with his dragon?
No, it just sounds like when he went to go get Caraxes. I mean, I'm sure he could have paid off a Dragon Keeper, to go ahead and get that egg.
50?
50. No, he
50
didn't
of them?
steal 50 eggs.
No. You say he paid off a dragon keeper. Like,
Oh,
could he-
I don't know how many he paid off, but
Okay.
obviously he did it with ease. But to add salt to injury, that was going to be the egg for Balon.
That's
I
the
think that's
son,
what his name was.
right? The son that
The one that died.
the one, that died, okay.
The most recent one.
Right.
DoctahReeka said thumbs up. So yes, that was good. So again, he's just vying for attention, and he's you know, if Hightower knows how to push his emotional buttons, Daemon knows how to push every other button. And so yeah, Otto Hightower is like, yo, it's treason then. They whip out the swords and they're ready. But they're also idiots because this is Daemon. He's a dragon rider. And out from the back, slowly creeping over the mountain, is CORYLS.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's very snake-like. Very snake-like.
The head is very snake-like, yes. Is that to say that Daemon's a snake?
In what way? Like he's
Cunning, conniving.
Like a Slytherin? Like
No,
is that-
I wasn't
yeah,
gonna say like a Slytherin. I was gonna say more like that snake from Adam and Eve, kind of a.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know. The symbolism behind a serpent. If CORYLS is very serpent-like, you know.
I can buy it. Yeah. Ooh. Okay. Maybe because the other dragon is well, the ones we've seen so far is goodness, what's the other one's name? The one that's
Cyrax.
Cyrax.
Yeah.
Okay. Cyrax has like a golden brown color. to
Definitely
him.
golden. Yeah, definitely
That's
golden.
the, you know,
Her. Cyrax is,
her.
yep.
Okay. She has, again, that's like a color usually associated with like royalty, right?
Mhm.
Golden. So Rhaenyra is supposed to be the next, you know, heir to the Iron Throne. Maybe there's some, I don't know, some symbolism there.
Very
maybe.
much. No,
Could
no.
be. I want to see more dragons. Maybe we could pinpoint more of how they're.
No,
related
I'm
to
sure.
this.
I'm sure. And
And
go ahead.
I was
Dr.
going to say, the same podcast I was listening to, of course, they have some folks who were on the inside.
Oh,
And
do
were
they?
mentioning, yes. So they were mentioning one of the people that they were talking to. I'm trying to figure out how to. Anyway, one of the people that they were talking to creates, I guess, a mutual friend of theirs creates the sounds for all the dragons. And the intent is that each of the dragons are supposed to sound differently and have different personalities. And and what's Daemon's dragons?
CORYLS.
Okay, Caraxes is supposed to be kind of like a, for lack of a better word, like a fuckboy. Like that's what they were envisioning when they were creating the sounds and the personality of that particular dragon. So if that gives you any insight, I thought that was a really cool piece of like insider information as far as like they're very much leaning into. Yeah.
I think Daemon, you know, we were talking about a serpent. Fuckboy sounds better than serpent. He gives he gives Black Air Force energy.
Oh no.
That's funny. That is some good insight. I because he made, I don't know, he just made like a high pitched thing. I don't know. If that is what they're going for, I'll take it. I would love to see that in the inside look. Yeah, we were going for fuckboy when we made CORYLS his voice.
Someone's gonna say it. I'm waiting for it.
I like that. But tell me, did y'all gawk at how cool of a scene was Cyrax coming through the clouds?
Yes.
Seeing the
Oh,
clouds
I
kind
thought,
of.
yeah. I thought they were gonna get attacked. I thought, you know, I mean, I don't know whose dragon it was, because I was thinking like, wait, this is clearly part of Daemon's plan, because he's got everything under control right now. Is he gonna kill them? Is he gonna burn Otto Hightower with everyone else on that bridge? But
I mean, he was
no.
ready.
He was ready to, but in a plot twist, in comes Rhaenyra atop her dragon to steal the show. I don't know. She had Giga Chad energy when she landed the dragon. I liked it, man. It was cool. I liked it. It was nice.
Fuckboy versus Giga Chad.
Yes.
Sure.
Exactly. Yeah, we were going for a Giga Chad vibe with Rhaenyra when she shows up.
I mean, she definitely, I think at this point, when she heard about the egg being her brother's, she's like, I'm enough of the BS. You know, y'all want to put my idea down. Hightower is about to incur. You want to talk about incurring a war? Hightower is about to, be burnt to a crisp, and then y'all gonna want to retaliate. I'm gonna go over here. There ain't gonna be no bloodshed. I'm gonna get that fucking egg back, and we're gonna be done with this. All right. And
I think it was a good showing too. Of like, my ideas can be successful. I can be ambitious. I have something more to add than just being this cupbearer.
Literally, it's a giant juxtaposition from the earlier part. Because again, she said, send in the dragon riders. She sent in herself a dragon rider. And even when she arrives on Cyrax, they had the nerve to try to tell her, yo, stop what you're doing. I don't remember exactly what they said, but they try to stop her.
They said, leave.
Basically.
What are you doing?
And and again, I'm Team Rhaenyra at this point. She's like, she completely ignores. She doesn't even give it attention. And she says, I think they said escort her back to her dragon. And she's like, be careful, boys. Cyrax is very protective of me. And she just keeps walking straight. Like, go ahead. Go handle your shit. Because Otto Hightower ain't about to do nothing. This guy's a clown. Okay? And she steps to Daemon and handles her shit.
She does. Period.
Successfully. She got the egg back.
And that was a really great exchange of dialogue too, as far as the, I'm the reason why you're doing all this, basically. So, if you feel a froggy, jump.
Do it.
I'm right here.
I have no weapon.
She literally said, yo, don't start none, won't be none. Right. She's like, I'm here. And again, I learned a new word.
Square up?
No, well, basically, basically square up. She said,
okay.
I'm here, uncle, the object of your ire. The reason you are upset, the reason you lost your inheritance. I'm right here. Do something.
So is
it ire, the word?
Ire. Ire is the new word I learned. Yes.
Nice. Good.
I like ire.
I'm so glad that you're getting exposed to some new vocab.
Well, actually, I've actually been on this new word thing for like the last month, and now Game of Thrones is just really coming rapid fire.
It up?
Yeah, it really is. Yes, thank you. And again, part of it is Daemon. I think he folds so quickly because she might be the object of his ire, but she might be the object of his desire.
Oh no! Ew.
Yeah, come on. The way he notice the way he looked at her while Massaria, his second wife, was looking at them, talking. I don't know.
We need to go back and
just felt like a tint of jealousy from her, but also, again, Targaryens are weird.
We did get the scene a little bit later too about what I have to say.
Oh, yeah.
But a scene a little bit earlier as far as what really angered her too about a lot of that. But yeah, there's something going on. I don't really want to think about it though.
They're just so damn weird, these Targaryens. I mean, Lannisters are weird too, but
at least that was a one and done with the Lannisters.
I don't know. Maybe it's because they were closeted about it that it made it more tolerable.
No,
because they knew they were in the wrong. I don't know.
It's just all bad.
Okay,
the Targaryens are open with it. They're very public, and they'll say, "Get over it." We're doing this.
Dragons, so we can't even talk shit because the dragon will.
Exactly.
That is true. You want to badmouth what our family is doing?
Go ahead, speak up.
Right.
I'm a whisper then. Shit.
Right. Daemon folds. Egg is rescued. Daemon and Massaria have a conversation.
I really liked that scene.
I did too. She's up. She doesn't want to have children.
Well, I think she it seems like she can't.
Okay.
At least my perception of that was, I think it was something the dialogue had alluded to, like I made sure I could not type of situation, because based off of her history and her past, it would make sense to have done something to make that not possible, considering
very true.
Oh, okay.
you know, it sounds like she'd been enslaved multiple times, etc. What I got from it was that she can't have kids, period. Not that she wants them or doesn't want them or whatever, that she just can't.
Okay. I guess that potentially is one way I can look at it. Initially, I thought it was just something where like just seeing like what Emma went through, and that's probably a regular occurrence of childbirth. You just roll the dice and hope it's the least painful.
That's kind of how I took it too, which I totally get. Either one, yeah. Either one, I felt like you can interpret it.
Either way,
she does not want kids, whether she can't have them or doesn't want them.
Well, I think at the core of it, she doesn't want to be bound to anybody.
Fear,
liberation of fear.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is a great piece of dialogue, because there's so much of, and I never mentioned last week's little sneak peek behind the whatever, that really this story is central to the experience of what women go through. And I think that was just such an impactful scene of like, no, like you have put a target on my back. I didn't want that. I thought being in cahoots with you would allow me some sense of freedom that I was pretty much never going to get. But now you've taken that away.
Mm-hmm.
And Daemon, amongst many other characters, would have never thought of that. Like that is the case for a lot of folks, because he has so much access to power. Maybe not the power he wants in certain scenarios and circumstances, but yeah, I thought that was a really good scene. I'm glad that they have that.
I'm glad she called him out, because it sounds like he never once questioned kind of her background and her story and what she actually really wanted. Again, product of the patriarchy, you know?
And I don't even think he did it like, he did it to spite his family. But did you get vibes that he did it intentionally to spite his wife too? Or
no, I don't think he was trying to spite her, but I did think he thought she would be
like, do you think he intentionally did what she pointed out that he probably did, with just paying a target on her back?
No, I don't think I don't think he did that intentionally. I think she would just be willing to go along with the ruse.
Okay.
But even if it is a ruse, now you make her problematic in the eyes of people like Otto Hightower.
Right.
Right. That could easily get her killed. Yeah.
Exactly. And that is not what she signed up for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I don't think he intentionally did it like to be malicious towards her. I think it's a consequence of just his decision to try to get the attention of his brother.
He didn't think that far along.
He didn't think, no.
Absolutely not. He's very much, I perceive him as like hot-headed. Like, I'm gonna make a decision right now and not really think about how it impacts anything else.
Impacts others, right? Yeah. Just literally, I care about what I get out of it versus. And again, you want to like Daemon at points, and then when people do point all this stuff out, like Rhaenyra called him out, and then Massaria called him out. And again, we do get a lot of scenes of kind of women now starting to call out this patriarchy. It's ironic because we know how this actually all ends, but it's still nice to see that there were champions, trying to, instill change, despite we may know the actual outcome. But back in King's Landing, our boy Viserys, we already talked about it. He has a conversation with, Rhaenyra about, that was kind of reckless. We are the last of our line, but I do see a lot of your mother in you, and you are a good heir, and I do stand by my decision, but I still have my duties as king. And he's made a decision.
Ooh.
Which way did you think it was going to go?
I thought it was going to be really weird, because that's just what I expect out of Game of Thrones. For a good second, I thought he was going to say his daughter. I thought it was going to get really weird. Where are you talking about the scene like at the end when he's choosing
who's he gonna marry? Yeah, who's he gonna marry?
No, I thought it was gonna be like some weird plot twist thing where, out of a weird protection for his daughter, he was
chooses Rhaenyra.
I thought it was gonna go in that direction because I thought he was gonna be because he had a conversation with her about you need to stop putting yourself in danger. And as your father, I don't know. I thought he was going to make some really dumb decision with that. And it was going to get so weird. Thank God it didn't go in that direction, but he still
I've never perceived him to go that far.
Right. Yeah. And that's why I was like, no, I hope he doesn't do that. There's no way. Because I'm trying to think like this man does not make good decisions. So I'm thinking like, well, what's the worst decision he can make right now? That's what I thought. But then he makes the second worst decision, or the third, however you want to rank them. He chooses Alicent.
Okay, in the world of Game of Thrones, I guess Alicent is the morally better choice, not the strategic choice. Again, I think marrying CORYLS' daughter is the more strategic move, but again, he's an emotional man first before a strategic one,
which was said in the episode.
And he went with Alicent. Otto Hightower wins.
That he does.
Which I don't like. Out of all this thing, I hate the fact that Otto Hightower wins. Because again, he sells up his daughter, and then he literally gets the best result.
Yeah,
but,
I wasn't.
Oh, go ahead.
So I know some of the lore. I don't know everything, but I knew that was coming. I just wasn't sure how they were going to present it. I do think it'll be fascinating. I imagine Rhaenyra and Alicent will see a scene that I hope it would make sense between the two of them following this decision, or just what the dynamics are going to be now. Because I think we talked about it a little earlier that Alicent does seem genuine in terms of her interactions, but also never mentioned, and I know the king had said not to say anything to Rhaenyra about the conversations, but still, this is your best friend. Something is happening. Like, I don't think I don't think she should be that shocked that this happened the way it did.
She seems pretty shocked.
It seemed...
Alicent seems shocked?
A hint of jealousy?
Wait.
No, I meant Alicent doesn't seem like it shouldn't have come to a shock to Alicent.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah,
she was building up to it. She was
the courtship basically.
Right.
Between the two of them, and so, I think the relationships that she's trying to build are genuine, but there's still that air of like, you still also didn't tell your best friend that something was happening. Where Rhaenyra could have been informed and would have been able, in that last conversation she had with her father, to say like, yeah, marry whoever except my best friend. Like, bitch, don't do that. But she was
on board. She was on board up until she's like, yeah, I understand you have a duty to marry someone else, and she kind of just accepted those terms. But the last person she expected that to be was Alicent.
Well, I guess at this point, go ahead.
No, I was going to say it was probably a strategy from Alicent too, because she knows if she tells Rhaenyra this, Rhaenyra is obviously going to bring those problems to her father and basically try and convince him, do not marry Alicent, which then that destroys Alicent's whole purpose that, Otto Hightower sent her to do. And then God knows what he's going to do to his daughter if Viserys chooses someone else besides her, because then he's gonna be like, well, what about all those damn nights you put on your mother's dress and you went to his room? What was that all about?
What you made him a dragon statue? God, come on now. I told you to goddamn drop your pants and get on that king.
Oh my God.
This is like ghetto Game of Thrones.
Goodness.
But
I mean, I saw why she would not tell Rhaenyra that stuff, because then that sabotages her whole thing, and then I don't know. Otto Hightower would do anything to ruin.
You know, no, she was definitely looking out for her best interest. You know, she
Right.
could have been punished, as you said.
Right.
But this is a lesson, I guess, Rhaenyra had to learn. It's kind of Alicent was her high council, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, she watches everybody pick at her father, and you know, just try to, you know, get their own schemes, you know, played out and whatnot. Here, Alicent served as kind of her high counsel and her most trusted person, and it was kind of a betrayal. And now Rhaenyra learns this is a game. Everybody has motives. Everybody's could be pawns to somebody else, and you really need to be mindful of who you choose to let in your corner. And so moving forward, I imagine Rhaenyra is really going to be kind of more closed off, or, you know, it's going to take a lot to gain her trust after this betrayal. I think it's like, yeah, as we've said, your best friend sleeping with your dad. It's weird. Could there be a potential relationship between Alicent and Rhaenyra, as like we talked about last time?
No.
Maybe not. Maybe
I don't see it.
Maybe that's a stretch. I'm just saying, if it
They
is,
do have a deep relationship.
correct.
You know?
They do.
And now,
And it just, and well, at this point, it seems like, well, was it genuine, or were you just trying to get in my dad's pants? You know, maybe that's
a
how
good
she's.
question.
Mhm.
Do you?
She may or may not ask.
I think it was brought up in the last episode. Do you think there was something between Alicent and Rhaenyra going a bit further than friendship?
I mean, it looked like it. I mean, the more we talk about it, and the more kind of how this episode plays out, it probably is just friendship, but it's just a deeper level of trust that they shared. You know, they had that moment in the Sept, this episode, and now just kind of seems you had your ulterior motives the whole time.
Right.
And it just sucks. And also, again, I guess maybe Rhaenyra is also looking at this too, like, you are plotting my downfall, because if you produce my father a son, well, I'm like, almost, that's a potential heir right there, and there goes my inheritance.
Which is really weird, because like he already announced her to be the heir to the throne, so it's like, can he take that back if he
has a son? I imagine.
That's just, oh man.
In the eyes of the patriarchy, again, they're gonna choose a man over a woman. So even though he announced her, if he went back on it, they wouldn't care.
Yeah.
No
She could
takesy
still be the
backsies.
better choice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
So I feel for Rhaenyra. I feel for Alicent. Again, she was forced into this position. It's not necessarily her doing. Did she play an active role? Yes, but you know, it's a domino effect. And that's the beauty of Game of Thrones, that gray area of who's right, who's wrong, who's, you know, it's just, yeah, it's kind of pick and choose your battles. Whether you're upset or not, no one's probably more upset than Lord CORYLS. Dude made it very obvious that he is pissed.
He slammed his fist on the. How dare you, Viserys? How dare you not choose my 12-year-old daughter? God, man, it's as soon as he made that decision, all eyes went to, I guess, viewers, because no one else knows about what CORYLS proposed. But my eyes went straight to CORYLS, because I'm like, oh, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna say about this? He's pissed.
He's so pissed. Oh my god!
How dare you? How dare you? But what does he say? He's like, I mean, well, because I think someone else steps in. It's like, you better watch your tone with your king, right?
Oh god, I saw it when I was watching it. I was watching it like right before we were doing this. I didn't finish it. I didn't get to that scene.
Oh, the
I
second
forgot
viewing.
to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't recall. I just know definitely people were like, yo, CORYLS, chill out. Like he's made a decision. Yeah, yours is a smarter decision, but he made a decision. Drop it. Yeah, you don't disrespect the king. Not openly.
Right.
And the dude storms out. I think.
Angry.
Yeah.
And then I literally think it cuts to what he's now scheming and who he's scheming with. Because they're at his little land, the Driftwood King. And he called Daemon over, and he's like, "Yo, Daemon, I like how he called this. He said,
Second sons.
We are the realm's second sons."
Beautiful.
I loved it, and now we shed more light. You know, we were talking about kind of CORYLS's comeuppance. He's basically admitting to having plotted the downfall of his brother. Whether or not he actually, that's totally what he was alluding to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
we haven't seen his brother though, right?
We don't.
No.
We didn't even know he had a brother. He was basically saying, if him and Daemon are the second sons, that means he has a brother as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I didn't even see it like that. I guess, but that makes more sense. For some reason, I thought he meant second son in the sense like, I mean, it makes even less sense now. My interpretation. I thought he was referring to, her name again. God damn it.
Who?
The queen that never was.
Rhaenys?
Rhaenys, yes. I thought he. Oh God! Now, even trying to explain it just sounds. You know what? No.
Oh, are you saying he would have been like king?
He would have been king through her.
Rhaenys, yeah.
But because it was the title was passed from her, he's like viewed as the second son. In
I could see that too.
Way.
You might have a point. Maybe he doesn't have a brother. Maybe that's what I took it as.
According to the other podcast that I was listening to, that I keep referring to, but they had really good, like, I don't know all of the stuff. Not saying everything is going to be accurate, but I guess in the books he's the first child.
Okay, so then it's probably what you're saying.
Well, I will say it brings up the point of, is he actually second son in the show, or is he just trying to find a way to manipulate the situation?
Right.
He's good with words. He is good with words.
He is very good with words.
He had me convinced. He had me convinced. And
convinced with what?
That, I don't know, he deserves power.
Yeah,
okay.
He's been thwarted and
that
deserves
one.
something.
Yeah. At least they deserve to protect the narrow sea and his lands, to say the least. Like, fight back. But now he's in league with Daemon. But of course, like you said earlier, only I can talk bad about my brother. You can't.
I love that. I love that. There's layers.
There is layers, right? It's like I can critique my brother. You can't. I deserve to be the king, but I'm not gonna kill my brother to become king. But I will.
Is that what he says?
I mean, that's what I took it. If he's siding with CORYLS, he's like, I will plot his downfall so I can regain my inheritance.
The thing that's interesting to me is I'm actually not quite sure, and we may have talked about this last week, but I don't get the vibes that Daemon actually wants to be king. I think he wants to be viewed differently than how he's perceived by his brother and by all these people that his brother surrounds himself in. But it may have been shared last week. I can't recall which of our guests had shared it. But like this idea of like, I think he would have been content being heir and waiting for his turn. I don't actually think he wants to overthrow him. But the gesture of engaging and maybe betraying him or overthrowing him would maybe give him the attention that he's actually seeking. But I don't actually know if he wants to be king.
No, I think you said it right. He was willing to wait. And then I guess it's the disrespect.
Yeah.
Of, if someone else comes along and becomes heir, or the naming of Rhaenyra as heir, he took that as disrespectful. And it seems he's already been disrespected so much by the people in power that this was kind of like a last straw kind of thing. And it's like, y'all pushed me to this. and I'm just going to retaliate at this point. CORYLS is presenting an opportunity for him to retaliate.
Right.
And what he does with that from here,
We'll find out.
sounds like the conflict for the rest of the series, because CORYLS is pissed, Daemon is pissed. This is the storm. You can either
Along with the last scene was what the creepy
the crab
mask.
feeder.
Mhm.
That was him, right? That's him.
I think
I
so,
believe
yeah.
so.
Because they homed in on that same character in the preview
Yes.
of next week, so I would assume he's a significant character, and I would think he's the crab feeder. Looks kind of odd. He's an
definitely odd
character.
I wouldn't call it a pirate. Looks like a demon, but
It feels
Not
like,
everything has to
like
be
some
One
Pirates of the
Piece.
Caribbean.
yeah, like
Type
Davy
of-
Jones's folks. Yeah, that's the vibe. Doesn't seem like they want power. They just look like they're having fun feeding people to crabs. Hey, to each their own, you know.
Everyone has their
Chaos.
hobbies. What
Yeah.
what else are you gonna do in that time period?
Everyone has their hobbies.
Right.
Speaking of
Terrible. Oh,
Oh,
very
to
nice.
take up that.
I need to figure out something to do while we do these casts. Other than I don't do anything other than eat.
Well, your
Uh,
thing is learning words and
Ah.
giving us good quotes.
Your vocabulary is increasing.
I will only give those good quotes when I watch it a second time. So I did have the luxury to watch this a second time. I will find those good quotes. I love those quotes. They're good.
It's a
They're
sign
good.
of good writing. Great.
It is a
writing.
sign of, and that's what I love about Game of Thrones. I love the writing. I love the quotes. I love we don't know where we stand with a lot of what's going on here. It's ever so intriguing though. And
Mhm.
episode 2 delivered.
I
did.
do want to ask, because I imagine we're getting close to the end.
Yeah, we'll probably wrap it up here.
Any thoughts on who's going to die from the major characters? Because we didn't cover that for our initial season premiere watch, which I mean, you know, in Game of Thrones, anyone's
Game of
up
Thrones
for grabs.
fashion.
Game of Thrones fashion.
Ooh,
Any characters up for grabs. Honestly, I think Viserys is gonna die this season. I think he's gonna die. Whether it's from indirectly from Daemon, I see him making very poor decisions, and those decisions are domino effects. They're starting to topple each other. Wherever we end up at the end of the season, I feel like he's gonna bite the big one. That's just me. I don't know about anyone else, because I feel like a lot of the other characters have more to show beyond a season 1, but I don't know. I didn't read the book, so I can't go off of what the book says.
Nobody read the book. DrJaceAttorney, you read up on some of the lore, but not the book.
Yeah, I read up on.
okay.
Look, I ain't got time to read all them books, but I did read up on the lore because that takes significantly less time.
God.
So I will refrain from sharing. Not saying that what actually happened is going to happen in the show. They've already changed a couple things.
They deviate,
Okay.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
could, right?
So I'll refrain from saying anything because I don't want to spoil people's fun.
That's,
Interesting. Interesting.
I think it's a little too. I don't know. I think it's too early.
Really? Like there's no one that you see.
Obviously, Viserys is probably like number 1 on the chopping block. However, again, I don't know how much praise I'm gonna give George R. Martin right now, but I don't know if you would want to repeat similar storylines as far as, you know,
That's fair.
the giant instigating point in Game of Thrones, the first one, or at least by the end of the first book, is Robert Baratheon dies. If Viserys dies, it's basically almost the same thing, except in this time around, it's more of a family affair.
And to be fair, no, I would be spoiling something. There's something on the horizon where it wouldn't make sense this early for him to bite the dust.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I mean, if I had to just throw out a name, goodbye, Allison.
Oh, you think Allison is coming up soon?
I don't know. I'm just throwing out. I'm being different.
I'm just saying. I always thought it was kind of cool to like, try to figure out in Game of Thrones, especially once they got past the books, because then no one knows anymore.
Nobody's safe at that
happening.
point.
Yeah, like they could kill off
I do-
anyone.
I will say I have a feeling that, and this is just that I don't know anything about this in this case. I have a feeling that the women, similarly even to the first, go around with Game of Thrones, the original series, I think the women are gonna last for a little
Longest.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that.
I mean, if they truly deem them as insignificant as they make them out to be, they're probably
And I
not
think
on the
that's
chopping
what,
block.
yeah, and that's what the idea of being insignificant or unimportant is, I think, a lot of the times what helps them kind of navigate.
It makes moves under the shadow.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Ooh.
definitely can see that.
So
But,
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean,
Wow.
from the preview, episode 3 looks pretty jam-packed.
Oh my
Looks like
God.
we're gonna get our first big battle.
3 ruined everything, damn it. I'm not watching these anymore.
I'm
like,
not
if-
watching the movie.
Had I not seen that, I would have had more to like, I guess, theorize and try to figure out like what. Oh wow, so he chose Allison, but is Allison gonna go through with it? Is Allison gonna betray her friend? Preview says yes. Yeah, she does. She does it. And
At
I'm like,
least
oh,
we don't really know what's happening with whatever that battle looked like.
Right.
We don't.
That's still up in the air.
It looks pretty epic.
It does. Damon's in it. He's part of that fight. Whatever.
Yes, it seems
that is.
Damon and CORYLS are making good on their moves.
Mhm.
And then we'll see the rest of them navigating this next little time jump. And
How far do you think does it look like? It looks like maybe
a year.
I would
year?
say a year at
Okay.
least.
Yeah. And a lot could happen in a year. Every episode might just be a little bit of catch up and a little bit of this is what's
Time jump.
happening. Yeah. Which it's different. I kind of like it so far. I don't know if it'll get redundant, but I like
think
I
it so far.
imagine
fine
when
for
they get
now.
older that things will maybe stabilize.
Slow down. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hit a plateau. Yeah, I can see that too. I guess
We'll
shoot, you might call this a prologue almost.
Ooh.
Actually, the podcast
Look at that.
did
Why
say
listen to the
that.
other one? Why? We got it.
You did have it. I was just adding a couple nuggets of things that I thought was cool. But they actually did say that. So I think it's cool that you said that of like maybe this is setting up. This is the prologue to the big
Gotcha.
what is to come. So I really
Oh, I like that then. I'm good with an episodic prologue versus one episode being your prologue. I'm good with that.
Right. Builds the tension.
Builds it.
We're on the
Actually, plug in another show. If you ever seen Arcane, I know we talked about it in the chat. Arcane does a similar thing. Go watch it. But hey, we're loving House of the Dragon currently. I think that's it. We're good.
I think that's it. Yeah. All the
Cool.
major
Good episode.
story beats. It was, fantastic. Episode was really good. Kept the momentum going. I felt like it didn't slow down. It didn't lose its pace. I expect great things for we get 7 more episodes after this, right? There's 9.
Yeah. No, there's 10. 10
There's
episodes.
10? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
8.
Mhm.
Then looking forward to 8 more episodes of House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
It's great. I don't know what else to say. I'm loving it. Loving it.
You got it. That's
Yeah.
it. DrJaceAttorney, any final thoughts?
I've been enjoying it thus far, and I look forward to next week. Also, shout out to Talk of Thrones for giving me all the insider information that I can then bring here.
Maybe I'll dabble myself after we do our episode. But I like you providing the insight.
It is great.
Well,
like
there's a few nuggets here and there that I think are helpful just to either to laugh or to understand something a little further. So I appreciate them and I appreciate us.
Cool. I think it's a nice balance. I too am excited for next week and the rest of the series. We'll see how it goes. But thank you, folks, for joining us here at the Yonkō Table. Whether you're listening through your various podcast stations, Spotify, Apple Music, or you're watching us on YouTube, thank you for joining. Be sure to follow us on all social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Make sure you definitely follow us on TikTok, where we're amassing a following that could be great for us later in the future, and we'd love for you to support. Of course, if you ever want to join the discourse that you see here, be sure to join our Discord through our Patreon in the link below. But without further ado, I'm your host, GrandMasterHoop. There goes your fellow Yonkō, DrJaceAttorney, and of course, as ever, Supernova DoctahReeka. Signing out. Y'all take care.